You probably watched a movie about a serial killer, but if I told you that this story happened in real life, would you believe it? That's exactly what we'll talk about in this video, so make sure you watch it to the end. October of the year 1628. A massive Dutch ship called the Batavia left Amsterdam heading to the East Indies with 268 people on board, and it was loaded with treasure, silver coins, and a lot of jewelry. The captain was Francisco Pelsaert, and he was in charge of all the people on the ship. Among the passengers was a man named Jeronimus Cornelisz, a bankrupt merchant running from his debts, and nobody knew nothing about him. June 4th, 1628. In the middle of the night, the ship hit a coral reef near the Abrolhos Islands off the coast of Australia, and the impact was massive. The water literally started flooding in, and people were screaming while the ship was breaking apart. So by morning, the Batavia was destroyed and 268 people were stranded in the middle of nowhere. Luckily, most survivors made it to small desert islands nearby, just rocks with no trees, no fresh water, and barely any shelter. The heat was unbearable, and people were dying of thirst. All they had was some supplies from the wreck, but it wasn't enough for everyone. So in order to survive, Captain Pelsaert took a small boat with 48 men, and they sailed over 2,000 miles trying to get help, leaving the rest of the crew behind him, promising them that he'd come back. But nobody knew if that was true or not. So the survivors were left alone on those islands with no idea if they would stay alive. That's when Jeronimus Cornelisz saw an opportunity. He wasn't the captain or a soldier, but he was smart and knew how to manipulate people, so he started gathering followers and slowly took control of the survivors. And at first, it seemed like he was just trying to organize things and keep everyone together. But then, people started disappearing. At first, it was the sick ones and the weak ones, and Cornelisz said they probably died somewhere from thirst or starvation. But then, healthy people started vanishing too, and others were found dead with their throats cut or skulls smashed in. Survivors realized something was wrong, and nobody knew who to trust anymore. Turns out, Cornelisz had a plan. He believed rescue would eventually come, but there wasn't enough food and water for everyone, so he decided to kill off the people he didn't need and keep the supplies for himself and his group. He convinced his followers that it was necessary for survival, and he turned the island into a place of terror. He created his own gang of killers, and they went from island to island hunting people down. And Cornelisz kept a list of who to kill next. He made people fight each other for entertainment, and anyone who refused to follow him got executed. So the island wasn't about surviving nature anymore. It was about surviving him. But not everyone decided to follow him. A soldier named Wiebbe Hayes and about 20 men were sent to a different island to search for water. And when they realized what Cornelisz was doing, they refused to come back. Instead, they built weapons from broken ship parts, collected rainwater, and hunted seabirds to survive, because they knew Cornelisz would come for them, so they prepared to fight him. And that's exactly what happened. Cornelisz did come, and he sent his men to attack Hayes and his group multiple times. But every time, they got pushed back, and Hayes and his men fought with sharpened wood, rocks, and whatever they could find. Even though they were outnumbered, they held their ground, and the island turned into a battlefield with two sides fighting for survival. This went on for weeks, with bodies piling up and trust completely gone. And then on September 17, 1628, a ship appeared on the horizon. Captain Pelsaert had finally returned with rescue. But when he arrived and heard what happened, he couldn't believe it. Over 105 people had been murdered, not by the shipwreck or starvation, but by Cornelisz and his gang. So Pelsaert immediately arrested Cornelisz and his followers, and they confessed to everything. Cornelisz and 7 of his men were executed right there on the island, and the rest of his gang got taken back to face trial. Wiebbe Hayes and his men were the heroes who survived and fought back when everyone else was too scared. The Batavia disaster wasn't just a shipwreck. It was a reminder that sometimes the most dangerous thing isn't the ocean or the desert. It's what people become when there's no one watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Just don't forget to like it and make sure you hit the subscribe button to watch more videos like this.